Estate Agency X, the UK's #1 estate agency podcast discussing the future of estate agency, entrepreneurship and business, hosts Mark Burgess and Rob Brady.
On this episode of Estate Agency X, I'm talking to Rob Brady about our next Estate Agency X event, which is called Estate Agency X9, the Mastering of a New Era. I dig in to find out what people can expect if they make the journey down to London and come along to the event for the day. Estate Agency X9. I wanted to just run through it with you for people that are listening. Obviously, as the name would suggest, it's our 9th Estate Agency X event. It's gone from, I think the first one we ever did had about 30 people there. I think the last one we did had about 200, maybe more. So first question, what's different about this year's event?
So previously before, I've been involved with Estate Agency X6, 7, I think it was. Even that since then has grown larger since then. And in fact, actually, we do our workshops for our accelerator program in the first EAX event room.
Well, we're #1, yeah.
Which is awesome. So EX9, it's called Mastering the New Era, and it's around. We're at this stage, which I think for anyone out there is listening, we're at this stage of where there's this new era that's come into agency, and then people are a bit unsure about where they're at with it, the direction, where they want to go with it.
New era in what sense?
So new era in technology. I think there's still a hangover from COVID in regards to team building, growth, how you position yourself in the market. I think especially with technology and the route of self-employed market as well out there, the competition is even greater. So people are struggling to maybe be different amongst the where they sit in the market. A lot of lost identity out there at the moment. So the reason why we thought we're bringing, obviously we do it every year, but Estate Agency X9, we've got great agency speakers that are going to be coming along who are great in what they do, rather than just being a Swiss Army knife of all. And we've got some really interesting topics covering those things I've just said. Okay,
so let's dive a little bit more into that then. So mastering the new era. What sort of topics would we be looking to cover at Estate Agency X that might relate with the idea of mastering the new era?
Okay, so Estate Agency X, we've got 6 pillars, effectively, we cover in our Business Accelerator program, and we've identified 6 pillars within most businesses, and I do it within my core performance program as well for our lifecycle clients. So we've got alignment, sales, marketing, brand, performance, operational, and we've got performance on it. So you've got 6 key pillars in every sort of the principles of really what you should be doing in your agency. So we've tried to base that to make it more simple for people who come into our event day, based around those 6 key pillars. And then each speaker is related to that in some form. So if we look at something like marketing, we'll be looking at marketing methods that are currently working in the new era and how that might impact your agency now. So what you might not be doing and how other players in the market are doing that and how that might impact you. But also if you have attended previous events talking around the best prospecting techniques of the past and you're fed up with doing it because it's not working, again, this is a nice little guiding light towards how you might be able to do it. Things like alignment we've got might be around, you might want to change how you operate your business, or you might want to grow your business in a different way. How do you get your business aligned in that way? So we've got speakers talking about how are they physically doing it, but also how they've done it already.
What maybe like how they are keeping their staff, like a new generation now of staff. Like how do you motivate and find the right people, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so like for example in alignment, we've got based around some of our self-employed model, we've got people coming into that route. And the reason why we did that element to it is not because it's just the self-employed market, it's that those guys have they're from traditional estate agency backgrounds, but have set up businesses that don't have offices, have multiple different members of staff in different locations. But how do you keep your brand all aligned? And how
Okay.
do you keep your operations all aligned? And how do you...
So that's one part of the session. Then speaking to a panel of experts who have set up self-employed models. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you'll be talking to them specifically about what, not just how they did it, because obviously how you do it, you say you're doing self-employed and then you try and recruit people, but the actual inner workings of what actually goes on with that model.
Yeah, and I think the honesty part to it, of like really what it takes to do it, rather than just seeing the golden finish on the end of it. It's like the reason why we did a panel last year and it worked really, really well, and we had great response from that, in the fact that we have questions, but also people can ask questions before, and then it can be a variance of... So our panel on that, we've got 3 different panel speakers on that from 3 different types of models out there. So one response to one person's thing is going to be different to another one. So if you're in the audience, you might be sat there and you might align more with that person's way they've operated their business to the other one.
Yeah, nice. So somebody is going to can come along and, as you say, listen to how marketing works in a new era, how the alignment works with this new generation. What else did we talk about? Sales.
So sales, we wanted to cover, and that comes from my core performance program, dealing with hundreds of agents over the years. You see it all on social media as well.
And when you say sales, just to clarify, we're talking about getting listings?
So two
that's
parts,
like the sales bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or are we talking about selling houses?
So 2 parts is not the marketing. So we've got, first thing is we've got a marketing part. It's the sales of, like, when you've got a sales prospect in front of you, how do you convert more sales but at a better fee?
So into a listing.
Yeah, into a listing. But also, how do you scale your sales to make it the ability to still do it in an efficient way but still earn the more money? So a common thing we see a lot out there is you might have someone who's listing loads but at a low fee, and you see it the stress through the cracks. Staff are demotivated because they've just got so much on.
Yeah.
You don't really want to raise your fee because you don't believe in yourself. So you might, from an ego perspective, say you're number one lister, number one seller, lister out there, but deep down you know that you could probably do half of what you're doing and deliver a better experience. And also at the same time, if you're sat there and you're going out to a lot of valuations but you're losing them, and you're wondering, how do I convert more, and understanding it's not about the competition saying X, Y, and Z. It's about how do you deliver a better pitch.
What I see a lot of as well, which maybe, I don't know if you think this event will help with that, is it seems like agents either do one of 2 things. Like you said there, they either do low fees, high volume, and they look great from the outside but don't make any profit. Or they do high fees, low volume, give a personal service, but there's only so many they can do because they do it all themselves.
Yeah.
And they probably make a decent living, but have to work like a dog.
Yeah.
So is there anybody on the panel talking about how to do the ideal of both?
Yeah, and that's what we wanted to bring in. So we've got four speakers on the panel on that one.
Nice.
And what I've loved about them is I've seen the transition of what they've gone through. So it's not like they're a Foxton CEO that tells you how to do it, and you're like, oh, well, I've got one single branch, I've got 5 members of staff, how do I do it?
Yeah.
These guys have... So we've got one person on the panel who was in a challenging market where they've got 3, them and 2 others in a competition stage, and if you are listening, there's so many of you out there probably in that stage.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do to try and grow it. Since changing, developing her strategies and their strategies in their business, they've tripled their market share.
Wow.
But not dropped their fees. Their fees have actually gone up.
Wow.
And they're now sitting at a 40% sold. They've sold more properties they did this year already than they did last year. They're sitting at a 40% market share on sold properties. They're not listing.
Crazy. If you run an estate agency and the problem is relatable and you haven't got the time to come and listen to that person talk about how they did it, that kind of says it all, really, doesn't it?
Well, that's the first one. This was a really exciting panel. Second one was a lettings agent, mortgage company, didn't really have an identity, low fee area, didn't believe they were ever going to charge higher fees, wasn't even really seen as a sales agent. It was more of a lettings book and did mortgages on the side. And they decided one day to actually go, right, how are we going to do this properly? And they've been on a massive journey of growth, and now they're the number one selling agent in their whole area. And that's sold properties and at the same time have tripled their fees in doing it. And they've established as becoming the market leader. So again, they've shifted their identity and gone through that process of how to get out the other side. So again, great experience, expertise on that panel, on that part. Another person there runs a 10-branch operation. So from a larger organisations, if you're listening to it, independent agencies are looking to see, how do I do this when I've got 50, 60, 70 members of staff?
Yeah.
They bring expertise on how to increase their fees, but also how to do it on a more scalable business.
Yeah.
And then we've got the final one, but that's no discredit to that final person, is the fact that they were in a low fee area and they decided to completely strip back how they perceived themselves out in the market, almost created this boutique style agency, but have gone from a low fee area to some of their fees. They've been charging like 12 grand on a £300,000 sale.
Wow.
4% fees.
Yeah.
So great panel to sit there, and if you want to come along and ask questions to those people, like what more about half an hour you can listen to.
And as you say, like what I love about Estate Agency X is that, we don't have a lot of the events that you go to. It feels almost like the event is there so that you can sell sponsorship around the outside of it and make some money.
Yeah.
You get a few speakers, and those speakers probably paid to talk, and that's about it, really. The rest of it, you just make your way around the stands and see what's going on. Estate Agency X doesn't have it doesn't have the gauntlet of sponsors to walk through. It just doesn't. It's just not the purpose of it. The purpose of it is just around educational content, and not prescriptive stuff. Quite often, I think when you go to events, people say, right, you room full of 1,000 estate agents should all do this way. By having those different types of people that you just said there, it'll be really interesting to hear some of the different things that are working for, the small company that was in the town of 3 agents competing, and they're all going, we'll drop our fees, and whereas this agent's putting their fees up and increasing their market share. Interesting to hear how they did that and what they've got to say versus, the guy who's running 10 branches and has got different issues on his hands about how to keep control of that and the quality side of things. Okay, that's interesting. So that'd be in terms of sales, i.e. getting more listings at better fees. What about the operational side of things and, I don't know, artificial intelligence or...
So, obviously, that's where your bag comes into it. We're going to be discussing with some guests on AI, operational technology.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that on that side of things, it would be important for agents to start to understand not the capabilities of artificial intelligence, because I think there are possibly better people in the world, more qualified people in the world that are talking about that openly, that anybody can research already if they want to. The capabilities of artificial intelligence and where it's going to go, where it could possibly go. But I think more about, I want agents to understand where they fit inside that ecosystem of artificial intelligence. Because it's all too easy to go, it's going to make all of us redundant. And who knows? Maybe there will be a place in the future whereby there are literally no jobs left, and everybody's on some form of universal benefit. But there's no point in us talking about that scenario. So the scenario that we are going to talk about is one whereby artificial intelligence needs specific things in order to be able to work, and when it's done its work, humans are then required to do certain things as well. So on a previous podcast, depending on when this is aired, we spoke about whether you can be replaced by literally a sign, or whether you can be replaced by artificial intelligence, or whether what level of replacement can replace what it is you're doing, and that again has a direct impact on the amount that you're able to charge for your service. So I would like to dig into that a little bit with people, through talking to guests and through doing presentations myself, just explaining to people perhaps where some of the extreme examples of artificial intelligence are being implemented, how they might make their way into a state agency, and how it will impact your job, what you should be doing to line yourself up with, that new age of efficiency, if you like, that's going to come into our industry.
And the last one we've got is brand. And the reason why we wanted to, brand's an exciting one purely because what we found with dealing with a lot of agents in the last few years, especially in the last year, is extracting brand beyond the logo and the colours. And the amount of agents I speak to in our core performance program that go onto our business accelerator programs really start to understand the difference between the two and actually the excitement of it. Give an example, like number 86, Kate at number 86, she identified that a brand wasn't just number 86. It was the essence came through, which was, bringing colour to the grey world of a estate agency. And before her even learn about that sort of side to it, I think she had it there, but how do I unlock it? So the looking forward to that sort of talk, because especially around if you're sat there and you're getting a bit frustrated with, I've got a really nice logo, and I've got nice presence out there, but people don't understand us.
Well, I think, and also people, even the opposite of that, people think, bored of my logo.
Yeah.
That needs to freshen up. It's like, that's probably not the answer to what the problem is that you're experiencing. It ties in so well, I think, with the growth of the self-employed model. So, talking to that panel about their self-employed journey in terms of building a self-employed brand will be really interesting, because one of the things that gets bastardized, if you like, is your brand.
Yeah.
And so bringing in like world experts on that subject for agents to listen to, I think is going to be quite critical for anybody moving into the new age. Like, how do you continue to keep the brand that you want the public to see you as you go through these phases of introducing technology to automate messaging, and self-employed agents that might decide to do things slightly differently to how you do it, and all of these different things that are now coming at you from all these different angles. Like, that'd be really interesting. Afterwards, do agents get to network? And
so the idea, we made this one a bit later, a bit more centralised as well. So it's near Liverpool Street Station in London, Broadgate. So easy to get to. If you're coming in from the north, Houston, King's Cross, St Pancras, all out in that area, you can jump down to it within 20 minutes or so. Again, we wanted to create it intimate and comfy as well. One of the things we really focused on was not sitting a whole day event on a really uncomfortable chair. So one of the things we can guarantee is that you won't have that. Nice comfy armchairs. And we started a little bit later to enable travel, but also give the ability for people to network and turn up. So it starts at 10 o'clock, network for half an hour. Again, because there's no supply gauntlet you've got to go through, you get your name badge, you can go and meet the people, and a lot of people have benefited from even just that interaction, because there's been, especially from clients that have come to it in the past from ours, it's like, I've met you virtually hundreds of times, but actually I'd like to go and speak to you face to face, so you feel that in the room. Obviously we have breaks throughout the day, and then towards the end of the day, 4:30-ish, we'll finish off, and we've got an outside space until 6 o'clock, which gives an hour and a half again to pick up those communication. And one of the things also we want to deliver is we deliver what we call the playbook in our business accelerator program, and we're going to deliver a mini version of that to our day. So The frustrating that I always get from a lot of clients that we speak to when they attend these industry events is I've got bags of knowledge to come away from, but I don't really know what to focus on. So how we've created our one in our previous workshops has enabled clients to really focus on stuff. So we're going to give a mini version for people on that day where they can take the best bits they've learnt, jot the notes down, and walk away with a good action plan that's not just a pile of notes, but actually something that's a bit more structured, which is good because, again, when you come to your end of your networking with your peers you've come with, that's a good time as well to obviously sit down and go, right, guys, like, what have you got towards the end of those notes?
Great. So when's the event?
4th of October.
4th of October at Liverpool Street.
Yep.
If someone's interested in getting tickets, best place to go?
The link will probably be in this to join our early bird wait list, which will be released in the next few weeks. Tickets go on sale on the 1st of August.
Yeah. If you go on to Eventbrite, I think you can search Estate Agency X there, can't you?
Yeah. And obviously we've already got a lot of interest already from our registered interest and previous events. So if you're listening to this and thinking, shall I come or shall I not? Like, don't wait out because tickets are to be secured fast and will be.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we both hope to see you at the event.
Thanks for listening to this Estate Agency X podcast. Can you make sure that you're actually subscribed to this podcast channel if you liked the content? It helps us massively to get better guests, and it just helps us generally. So you might think you're subscribed, but just have a double check whatever your podcast platform of preference is, that you're actually subscribed, and then that way we can continue to grow the channel and get better and better guests for you.